Co-living shit, I suppose. I'm on my live alone, die alone. Ain't talking about spending or buying clothes. It's been a minute, but I'm back now. I broke it off with my little baby. You don't get me, drive a nigga crazy.
Okay, so let's start with our clips first. And like I said, I'm just gonna have this one video, and it's gonna be my bottom layer because if I do a tutorial on how to do it with videos, it's gonna be too long, and so I'm just gonna do it with pictures. So this is gonna be on bottom layer video, and then I'm gonna go to this TV screen, which has a green screen in it, so I don't have to mask it out. I just have to chroma key it, and then it'll be fine. If you don't have a green screen effect or anything like this, you can just mask it out the same thing. To show you can mask it out, I'm gonna use this image. It's a still frame from a music video. And so I'm just going to mask this out and then do the same thing. Oh, I'm playing it. And then for the final image, I'm going to use this, which is going to be a hard thing to do since it's going to have, you know, it's bigger and it's sideways. So it's not straight looking forward, it's sideways. And that's, I think, is going to be the hardest part in this video. So let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is you want to make a new track for all your layers, all your, you know, video effects. So what I'm going to do is right click and then insert 3 new video tracks and then place each of them on their own video track. Now let's start with this first one. I want the transition to be about 10 seconds long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this out, or not 10, I always say seconds, but I mean frames. I'm going to pop this out and I'm just going to start it right here and then end it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this to the first marker. Now you don't want to delete this one and this one yet because they're essential for this one. But let's get into this. So I'm gonna chroma key this out. Real quick so we get the underneath layer showing. Alright, and then there we go. Okay, so we have the video underneath, so it goes to this, to this. Now what we're missing is we want this to zoom in, right? So to do that, we're gonna need to go to the left here. You can use it with pan crop, but I'm gonna show you why when we get to the last clip why you don't want to use pan crop. You can go to the left here, and you want to click track motion. I'm just gonna make a keyframe right here. And then I'm just gonna zoom in, go to keyframe, and I'm gonna zoom in, which is like this, I believe. Yep. I'm gonna make a keyframe 1 frame in so I can see it. Okay, I'm gonna want to zoom in all the way to the television. Don't do that yet. I guess you guys can rotate if you want. It's just it might take a little bit of time. Zoom in all the way, and I want it to be perfect fit on the TV. Okay. Just like that. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want it to be completely out. Look, it's already doing it. I want it to be completely out at this 10-second mark. And even then, you don't really want it to be all the way out, if that makes sense. You want it to be just a little tiny bit, or just like, you know, just, yeah, you can make it completely out. Sorry. All right. So I'm gonna zoom in, and then I'm gonna have it completely out right here. Now we have this transition, right? If we fade this in about 2 frames, 1, 2, we have this cool transition. Maybe make that like 3 frames. But even then, that's a little bit too fast. I want it to fade in about. Right. So right now we have that, which is, I think, is a little bit too fast, so I'm gonna just zoom this in out about right here. Okay, because I want to see the edges of the TV screen. What's going on? Hold on. So if we have this. Oh, that's why. Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, I had 2 keyframes that weren't working. Alright, so I have my first keyframe, where I want it to be, right here. And then we'll have this effect, the TV comes in and goes out. I guess we can go back and make it full screen if we wanted it to. Like that. Okay, so we have the TV screen to go in and go out. Okay. Now we're missing the effect of, since this is, if we wanted to make it look like we're watching the TV and we zoom out, it's getting smaller obviously, but the frame's getting shot out. So what we want to do to fix that is we want to go to the bottom layer and then do the same thing, track motion. And then we just, since their transition second top clip is starting right here, we're gonna make a keyframe right here, and then we can go to the end and kind of cheat it, and then just zoom this out so it looks like we're watching it in you know, in like we were regular watching it. But the thing is with this TV, it's, you can't really zoom it all the way out because this is a widescreen video and this TV is a different aspect ratio than it. So you'll get, you know, you'll finish it like this, and even then during it you'll have these black bars. So what you can do is what I did before, I kind of just, when the TV was coming up, I just did this frame by frame and then just kept this right here, one, and then I move this up a little bit like that, which kind of seems weird, but, or counterintuitive, but see, then you get a problem with like this zooming in. So I'm gonna make this fade in a little bit. So you want this to be zoomed out a little bit, and then I'm just gonna move this down. Okay, get it perfect. And with this, okay, yeah, with this effect, you're gonna have a lot of downtime. So you're trying to get it perfect and whatnot. And also, you don't try not to move it, because if you get to move it, you'll get this stuttering effect in it, and it just won't look straight. Okay, so we'll have our TV comes in, one down, and then I'm just gonna lift this up a little tiny bit, and then, so since this is, I don't want to see any black bars, I'm just gonna use this as my reference point. So he's very close to the edge of the TV and she's a little bit farther away. At the end, I'm just gonna have him close to the edge and her a little bit far away. So at the end, I'm just gonna, that looks pretty good right now, except this black bar. So at the end, I am going to move this down. Oh, I'm gonna need to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit less big, like that. And then we still have that black bar, so that means I'm gonna have to even make it a little slightly bigger, like that. Okay, so now if you look at it, dude, it's frustrating. Okay, so let me see if I can do this. Okay, so, and if I move this down, dang, that won't work. But that looks so good. Alright, but the good thing is this transition is very fast, so no one can tell you have a black bar. But if you want, I guess you can go frame by frame and make it bigger, but just to save time, I'm going to try to go through this as fast as possible. So that's our first transition, and I think it looks pretty decently. Alright, so for the second transition, you don't want to cut these two clips, as we're gonna have to use them. So I'm just cutting this to make it big, or to make it cleaner. But here's the second picture I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna start this when this keyframe ends, so when the first transition ended, and then I'm gonna fade this in about 2. Actually, before I fade it in, I'm gonna mask it out with this little polygon thing. So this is usually what you guys are gonna have to do, since if most likely you're not gonna use a green screen. You're gonna have to get your little polygon. This could be a poster or like a square, a t-shirt, you know, a circle. It can be whatever shape just make sure it's like a cohort shape, if that makes sense. Okay, and then I'm gonna do negative, feather in, and about 2. Okay, so that's my mask right there, and then that's where it starts. So, well, it depends, because I'm gonna move it. So, like the same thing, we're gonna have to go track motion, and then zoom this all the way in. And now we're gonna have to just zoom that all the way in, and then we're gonna go about 10 frames again. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and then track motion, and then just change this to default. Okay, now same thing again, we're gonna have to change the bottom layer, but if you guys didn't know, if you guys can tell, we're going to change both the bottom layers. Since they're one image now, we're going to have to change both of them. I guess you can also, let's say you did one transition, you can render this video out longer for about, you know, like 20 more frames, and then you can just do that, so you don't have to change both of these track layers. But I'm not going to render it out. I'm just going to do it hand by hand in case you needed to change this later on. So that being said, let's do this. So I'm going to change this. So what, like I said before, this is the beginning of the little picture frame we're going to see, right? So this video kind of has to stay this size the whole way through. So just we're going to have to eyeball it, so take a look at the size, and then we're going to go to the end of this transition, and then we're going to track motion, and then we might even have to move this a little bit. So I'm going to make this smaller, but make sure there's no black bars, which is why I didn't want to zoom in all the way out. And then I'm going to have to go to the bottom layer, track motion, change this to the right to where about he was, and I also have to zoom this out to where it was about right there with a little bit bigger. Oh, don't do that. Maybe zoom it out more. And then that's about where it was. So if we take a look at it now, it was a little bit bigger, I can see, but if you take a look at it now, that's the effect we have. And it looks weird because, yeah, it's coming out, but it's not staying the same shape throughout the video, if that makes sense. It's not, this TV isn't getting smaller as we're going backwards. I mean, I guess it is a tiny bit, but I don't know. I don't know, there's something about it. That's why when I said earlier in the beginning, I don't want to go all the way out. I wanted to have some in so I can extend it more and not have black bars. But that's how, I mean, I guess it kind of looks decently. If we're looking at it like this, we can see everything. Right? Out, out. Okay, actually, let's try to fix this one more time. Track motion. Ooh, let's see if I can make it smaller. We start getting black bars. Except it was just only on the top, so if I make it smaller and ooh, okay. Make it a little bit bigger, and I move this down to one more time a little bit bigger. About that. And I move it like that. Okay, that already looks better. Then I move this bottom layer down. Move it about right here. Move it like this. This needs to be a little bit smaller because I remember he was about right there. Oh, I also moved it to the right, that's why. Okay, and it was about like this, right? So this needs to be a little bit bigger because there's two, I can see the black bars at the end. Okay, and even then, you don't really need to pay attention to this anymore, as we're going to fade it out when this transition, oh dang it, no way, when this transition is going into another one, if that makes sense. So you're done with these forever. So right now we have this, and it's looking pretty decently. If you're having a problem with the movement, you can always right click on the keyframes and show them or change with these settings. I like to do smooth or slow. So if I change it to these, smooth, we'll get this effect. And I think that's more of the effect they were using. Okay, so like I said, now we can see the transition go from this to this, but if you look at it, the video stays right there, and it doesn't really go well with our wall, since our wall is slightly slanted and more towards the back tilted. It just looks like it stays there. I mean, if you guys want that transition, it still looks tight, but I still want a little bit more. So like I said, we're gonna have to 3D motion track this bottom layer, and at that time I already want these to be done, so I'm just gonna cut them about right here, and I want them to be done, so I'm just gonna do this. Well, actually, before my this starts moving, I'm just gonna fade them out. So fade it out and fade it out. Now that's just me being kind of lazy and for the effect, because they can't really tell what's going on anymore. So actually, I'm gonna fade this out a little bit beforehand. So people looking at it can't really tell what's going on, or can't really see that far back, if that makes sense. So it's just like, you know, you're saving time just fading it out. But if you want it to just keep, if you want to keep motion tracking this, then by all means keep motion tracking it. So like that, and then that fades out, and then this. All right, so now we have to only worry about this top clip motion tracked. So what we're gonna do is go here, track motion. Oh, I forgot, my Vegas crashed. We're gonna get this compositing mode, 3D source alpha. Go here and track motion. Now at this end right here, or this is where it starts, we're gonna want to go one frame, and then this is where it kind of begins. So you're gonna have to tilt. Don't mess with any of these, because these are hard to mess with. I just mess with this. I'm gonna tilt the rotation to the right about 2, but then I start getting black bars, and then I'm gonna tilt the X backwards. Nope, that's wrong. I'm gonna tilt the Y backwards about 2 as well. Now I'm gonna need to move this to the right so I don't get any black bars. Actually, I'm gonna have to zoom this in a little bit so I don't get any black bars. Okay, then I'm gonna go one frame. That's where I want it right now. One frame. A little bit more I wanted. I'm gonna unzoom and move this to the right. Okay, one frame. Unzoom. But then I'll get black bars. Okay, move this to the right. Unframe. Zoom again. You guys already know black bars. But then also move this up a little bit, because that's where we started with over here. Right, we started with this all in the way, and then move that. And then also, when I was doing this by myself, I realized I couldn't get I couldn't get it perfect, because the billboard is not like the same, you know, the same size, or the same size as my video, so it's gonna look kind of way off. But if you do it fast, I mean, no one's gonna notice, right? I'm gonna do it like that. So if I have this, which is too fast, I'm gonna need to delete those frames. Preview auto, which is really bad, but don't worry, I'm just doing it frame by frame first. Delete those frames, and then this zooms out, or zoom in. Maybe keep it like that. Zoom a little bit more in. This is a little bit too. Dang, hold on, I need to change this backwards. Okay, like that, and then just change this about See, like I said, even then I can't even get fully everything in the video, as my billboard is, you know, way off. Okay, turn like that. Okay, so now if you look at it, it's gonna look horrendous, but we'll see how it looks. Yep, I was right, it looks horrendous. So I'm gonna delete all these keyframes. You're asking me why I made all these keyframes. It's just to get kind of the sense of where things are at, and then I'll delete it. And then, okay, I'll delete them, and then just add more. So right now we have this as a transition, and we have major black bars, which the transition itself looks nice if we didn't have black bars, but since we have black bars, also I think I need to bring this fade out a little bit. But since we have black bars, hold on, oh, wait, backwards. Which I think I could fade this one out first, right? Boom, boom. Wait, nah, I'll fade them out at the same time because it's on TV. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay, hold on. Boom, boom. Since we have black bars, it just looks kind of disgusting. So hopefully, don't make it your mask super wide, or else you're gonna have to zoom it in. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to just keep this zoomed in all the way. It's not gonna look pretty, but it's what we're gonna have to do. So zoom this in, keep it zoomed in, and then since we already made our marker right here, I guess we can, so I'm just gonna keep this zoomed in like that, a little bit more zoomed in, and that's all the zoom in. So right now if you take a look at it, it'll look, which is, it looks kind of weird, but that's the best you're gonna get. So it's gonna go here, and then I guess what you can do at first, so I did with these 4 keyframes, I had it like this, and then I turned this, so it did all the turning itself, and then I just zoomed out right here. So I'm gonna do the turning, I'm gonna finish the turn right here. So I'm gonna check out this rotation, which is a 5 rotation, and then I'm gonna finish this 5 rotation here. I'm gonna delete this keyframe, keep doing that. I'm gonna delete this keyframe and this keyframe, and then I'm gonna have this as a 5-point rotation, and then it'll look something like this. Boom, it's already rotated. Oh, that looks way better. Okay, see it, I mean, it kind of looks trippy because it's turning, but it's already turned, so that's even perfect in my opinion. I mean, it still kind of looks I don't know, weird, but I like it. And yeah, oh well, that's basically it for this tutorial. Leave a like, leave a comment on what you want to see next, and subscribe, and check out my self-fi if you want other videos. Thanks for staying this long. I know it was a long tutorial and pretty gruesome, but yeah, thanks for staying. All right, peace out later.